안녕하세요. 오늘은 제가 속해 있는 지프 동호회에서 2019년 들어 처음으로 오프로드를 나간 날입니다. 오늘의 행선지는 리틀모압이라는 곳인데 전체적으로 오프로드 난이도는 별로 없는 곳이고요. 대체로 평이한 산길 정도라서 초보자들도 쉽게 갈 수 있는 곳입니다. 이름에서 알 수 있듯이 유타주에 있는 모압을 따라서 리틀모압이라는 이름이 붙었습니다. 지금 보여드리는 사진은 모압의 오프로드 트레일 중 하나인데 지금 가고 있는 리틀모압도 마찬가지로 층층이 계단 형식으로 생긴 지반이 특징입니다. 규모가 유타에 있는 모압과는 비교도 할 수 없을 만큼 작은 언덕이지만 타이어 사이즈가 작거나 리프트 되어 있지 않으면 올라갈 수 없는 곳이고요. 양쪽 사이드에 나 있는 갓길을 이용하면 되는 곳입니다. 오늘은 오프로드 코스가 너무 짧고 단순하기 때문에 동호 회원들을 대상으로 winch 사용법 강의가 있고요. 팔럭 형식으로 각자 음식을 조금씩 가져와서 햄버거와 핫도그를 구워 먹기로 했습니다. 지금은 오프로드 들어가기 바로 직전에 부드러운 주행을 위해서 공기압을 낮추는 중입니다.
Behind you, basically the tail is actually doing the leading. So make sure if you don't see anybody in your rearview mirror, slow down. So that way we get all the spacing. For this initial part of the trail, we're actually be running through a residential area. So just be nice, no loud noises and whatnot. Other than that, let's have some fun.
We'll be making a right on the trail 347. Is there any mailboxes on it? Yes, a lot. For those with a clutch, I may recommend going into 4 low on this hill that you'll come up to. And then when you get to the top of the hill, you'll be making a left. And this is normally a very photogenic spot, although with the low clouds, not today. What are you talking about? I thought it was sunny and shiny and 80 degrees outside.
Hey Uni, what's your temperature thing say?
Mine's a 50.
I got 46. Okay, I have 50 and Steve's like, I don't believe it.
Bingo!
57.
Back out, it was sunny and 85.
Well, good news, Sarah, no one's here.
Oh, yay. All for us.
Good news is we're here. Bad news is it's going harder.
Who was that? Because you were squawking terrible.
리틀모압이라는 곳에 도착했습니다. 왼쪽에 보이는 언덕이 리틀모압이고요. 이미 다른 오프로드 그룹이 반대편에서 올라와 내려올 준비를 하고 있습니다. 저희 동호회는 점심시간이라 일단 점심을 먹은 후에 윈치의 기본적인 사용법을 배우는 시간을 갖기로 했습니다. 강의는 물론 영어로 진행되고요. 한글로 자막을 넣어봤는데 제가 번역에는 별로 소질이 없어서 의역이 다소 거칠 수 있으니 양해 바랍니다.
With the winch cable, like if you're gonna drive, kind of a good way to secure the line. And then I'll do is I'll pull up, I'll show you how we'll hook to the tree and then winching and that type of stuff. So a lot of us I think have the old school with the cable. So there's some trails we run where you've got to run, you kind of just leave your winch line hooked up while you're running. So a good way on a Jeep is actually to use the hood latches. Have it go into the hood latch, wrap it around the side view mirror and just throw your winch controller up there. But when wheeling, you actually want your winch cable usually like stored behind your passenger seat, somewhere you could grab it while sitting in your seat. It's also good too to have at least one D-ring within that same area. I carry one in my middle glove box. That way, if you get in that sketchy spot, all you really have to do is just grab your winch controller, grab your D-ring, hand it to someone out your window. They go ahead, hook it up, and then go from there. So
But it's not always. Sometimes you're in a position where you got to recover yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, usually there's people around who are willing to help, but you have to know what you're doing so that if you can only rely on yourself, ultimately, if that makes sense.
So I'm going to pull up real quick up so I can get close to that tree. So when you're hooking up to a tree, you want to make sure it's alive. Check it, make sure it's not like a beetle kill or anything like that. I'm just going to go to this easy one real quick. I'm not doing a whole lot of force. Ideally, I'd go to this big boy, but for instructional purposes, we're going to the little tree. Always when you do your winch line, or your tree strap around it, always want to go as low as possible. So, ideally you want gloves that have no straps or anything like that on them. Reason being is especially when winching in, if it gets caught on something, it's likely to bring you in, and these things don't care. So on winch, this side is actually engaged. If you turn it to this side, it's what we call free spool. So it allows me to pull the line out. And you'll see a lot of people like just grab the line and start struggling over stuff. It's actually a lot easier if you just take out the line to stand in here. Always making sure you're not actually like wrapping this around your hand, because if this thing were to go, I could just let go of it and let it go on its way.
Your line looks pretty frayed. How do you know when it's...
Mine gets used a lot.
But when is the time to get a new line?
So this is normal, like little fraying. If you look in here, like it's just kind of fuzzy. You would want to check it and make sure nothing's cut. Then you got your D-ring in your pocket. So with the tree strap, we're gonna do is we're gonna actually kind of join them together. Screw out your bow shackle or your D-ring, however you want to call it. And then you always want to remember to screw down, not so you don't screw up. That's just in case you had an issue. There's a less likely a chance of that pin falling out while you've got a load on it. And then you go tight, and then a quarter turn back. And the reason being is that when you start putting a tension on the line, it can tighten up. So if you start tight, then bring a screwdriver or something to get it undone. So now we're gonna take that thing and turn it towards this direction, which now engages the winch. And you always want to do is give actually a tug on your winch line. Swarms aren't as bad, but like a super winch, it actually gets in between on the brake, in between gears. So if you give it a little tug on it, it'll actually snap it in gear. The warns aren't as bad. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tension my line. So now I have a tension line. So we can do one little talk about, so if this Jeep was really, really stuck, the reason why we're having everyone carry snatch blocks on a recovery equipment is I can actually do, so in this instance, for ease of math, let's just say I'm doing a 5,000 pound pull. It's just 5,000 pounds. If I were to get a snatch block involved, so that would actually in essence take that 5,000 pounds and now double it to 10. You know, you have 5 on your winch and 10 on the bumper or whatnot. Why am I not using a damper? For steel line, even on steel line I wouldn't use a damper. The amount of force when that steel line breaks, basically you're just putting a sweater on a line to keep it warm. There's nothing, it's not going to dampen. And you got to think about the forces involved in this. You can put any amount of weight on it, now you're just adding, basically you're adding a projectile into the system. Synthetic lines can, usually if they break, they just lie flat. but they can break and actually come back at you. The benefit though usually is it'll just give you like a minor burn. When we actually go to do the actual winching part, when I actually put a full load on the line, I have everyone get out at what I call the kill zone. We're just gonna go ahead and put tension on the winch line. And I'm basically just gonna do, actually in this instance, I can put it in neutral. So I can put winch in one hand.
There you go. I think you have to go around like that.
You want me to just get out of the way completely?
Tag race, come on.
Oh, there you go.
What?
I can't see what I'm missing back there.
Passenger driver tires about 6 inches from the edge. Right about there. Can you now turn and go more that way? You kind of got to do it like Steve did, where he kind of came up at an angle.
Like that?
Yeah.
Sorry, that was my bad.
You're Jeep, you don't have to apologize. You can go forward. Hammer time! Steve's
It's because Steve's with me.
Steve looks nervous now.
It's so much better when you're not.
Yeah, keep coming, keep coming. Driver passenger tire finally. Driver's side, perfect. Alright, there. Hi, behind Uni. How are you getting up? See, the problem is you're not gonna have enough step up here, I don't think.
You don't think so? It looked bigger when I got a little bit closer. I was a little worried.
You're the same build as Sarah.
I'm smaller.
Wow.
137, she's on 40. Can we try it over there?
It looks tough for 37s.
Why don't you try to do this, Mike? Come up like this. like this and into that.
So go back down.
Yeah. Uni, did you just walk it?
Either one of those.
I'm just making sure you know you came with a Jeep. Keep going. Sometimes it climbs. Yes, keep going. Basically, just try to go like right that towards Brian Lee. Yeah, perfect. Oh, good. See? I knew I had the right idea. I knew I had the right idea. They're just getting them turned around in there to...
Airing up.